Hey everybody, it's Dr. Hunt. I'm here to do my second live video. We're talking about the No Guesswork Diet, the book. Here's a copy of the book here. And today we're going to talk about something that I get a lot of in my clinic, and people are asking me about, why is it so difficult to lose, to keep the weight off that you've lost? And so I think it's a really deep discussion, and there's a lot of science behind it, but I try not to bore people. And we're not going to be too long on it, but I'm going to just hit you with the highlights so that you can make it really easy to understand, and that you can, to the point where you can explain it to other people. So I think I want to start by saying people can lose weight. Losing weight or weight loss and weight maintenance is difficult, but the easier part of the two is weight loss. So people can lose weight, but it's so much harder to keep the weight off. And so, and that's the most frustrating part, right? So it's like you work so hard to lose weight, and then before you know it, you've regained all the weight back. And I can tell the feeling. It can be tough and it can be disheartening. One of the examples, and this is probably not a great example, but I'm going to use it anyway. If anyone's ever gone to a casino and gambled, you go to the casino, you gamble, you start winning, you get really, really excited. Your limbic system, which is your craving center, starts to spin, and you're gambling. You're enjoying it. You're winning, and you're really riding high. And somewhere in the back of your mind, it says maybe we should quit while we're ahead. But for some reason, you keep going and you gamble, and whatever your game of choice is, you're winning until you're not, and then you start losing. And then at the end of the night, you've either lost all of your money, or you've gave them your money. So you've lost the money you won, or you gave them, or you lost all of your money, I should say. And so then the thought hits you: I should have quit when I was up whatever amount of dollars. And the reason I liken weight loss and weight regain to that is because a lot of people come to me and say, I was down, 20 pounds. I was down 30 pounds. I was doing so well, and I regained it all back. And so, and they feel, defeated almost. And they shouldn't. And what I'm about to say next is another thing that people say to me that, well, I don't know if I believe that. So I need to explain it a little bit more, but what I'm going to say is, when you're trying to lose weight, and it's difficult to lose weight, that's not your fault. Yeah, sure, you have to have the mindset, but if you're trying to lose weight and it's difficult to lose weight, that is not your fault. That is your body fighting against you to get you back to what it perceives as normal. And we talked a little bit about this last week, about what your set point is and what everybody's set point is. And people ask me a lot of questions. They send me messages in my DM and on my page to explain further. So that's one of the reasons why we picked this topic today. And it's not just about willpower. People seem to think that, the reason that they regain the weight is because they lacked willpower. And I can tell you that that's categorically not true. Sure, willpower helps and is important, but it is not and should not be the sole strategy for you to lose weight? Because there's mechanisms behind it. Just like there's mechanisms behind why you keep playing gambling in the casino. So the people who own the casino understand that majority of us are going to keep playing until we lose all of what we won, and then we'll probably even, lose the money that we came with. And the reason they know this is because they know how the brain works. They know how the limbic system works. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today, so that when your body tries to get you to lose weight, tries to fight you from losing weight, it does it in a certain amount of ways. One is it secretes these hormones, the hormone that I told you guys about, the ghrelin hormone or the hunger gremlin. And then there are other hormones that make you feel satiated, that make you feel satisfied. And what your body does is when that thermostat is supposed to be set at 250 pounds, and you try to take that thermostat from 250 pounds and turn the temperature down to 200 pounds because you want to lose 50 pounds, your body is going to fight you and prevent you, or try to prevent you from continuing to lose weight. And so the way it does it is it raises that ghrelin level to make you hungry and reduces the satiating hormones, and so that it makes it really difficult for you to fight. And so your body knows you just as well as the casino owner, and knows that, there will be days that you can do a pretty good job at fighting and using willpower to get through it. But there are going to be days where you didn't sleep well, where you had an argument with your spouse, where someone at the job pissed you off. And there are going to be days where your willpower might not be as strong as it was the previous day. But your body is consistently and constantly working at getting you back to where it needs to be. And so once it gets an end, it does it. And so then you find yourself snacking or munching or doing whatever. And even if your body doesn't succeed at doing it that way, it has another way. So it has the hormones that make you crave and make you hungry. And then your body is in control of your metabolism. So that if you start to lose weight, your body will decrease your metabolism. Now, mind you, your metabolism decreases anyway when you lose weight, because if, let's say you have a bigger house, you need more heat to heat that house. If you have a smaller house, you don't need as much heat. So your metabolism decreases normally anyway. But what your body does when you're trying to lose weight is the normal decrease in your metabolism might be here. Your body decreases it even more. So that now, not only are you craving more and you're more hungry, your metabolism is also lower. So, when you put it that way, sometimes people say, well, I can't win. My body is fighting against me. But, I look at the glass half full. And your body's fighting against you, but because we know what your body is doing, we know how to fight it. And so we know what the hormones are. We know how to address those hormones. And we know what your body does when it decreases your metabolism. So because of it, we know what to do. We didn't know that several years ago. There's a good example of that. I don't know how many of you ever saw the show, The Biggest Loser. There was an episode, the 2009 episode of that they showed these guys who were, on the show and losing weight, and the NIH followed these people, men and women, for up to 6 years after they left the show. They lost over 200 pounds. And what they found was that 6 years later, almost all of them had regained their weight. And when they checked their metabolism again, their metabolism dropped about 15% more than what they would have expected. And so from that information, though, we learn how to address it. So how do we address it? So how do we prevent ourselves from regaining the weight after we work so hard to lose it, when 80% of people who lose weight regain it. If I want to start by saying this, first of all, if 80 to 90% actually of people who lose weight regain it, it's not that everybody has a problem. There's a reason why so many people who try to lose weight regain it. It's not because everybody is lazy and everybody is a glutton. It is a physiologic and biologic reason why this happened. It's called metabolic adaptation. And don't want to get you with all these crazy words, but we're going to explain it very, very simply. But so your body is doing things to try to get you back to what it perceives as normal. So your body is really doing what it thinks it's supposed to do. And you might say, well, why is my body doing this? And the answer is survival. So if you go way back thousands and thousands of years, people who had to hibernate over the winter because it was cold out, they would have to stockpile food. And so people, either the food spoiled or went rancid over the winter, or you didn't stockpile enough food. When winter was over, the only people that came out alive were the people that actually had some extra weight on them. And so from natural selection, those are the people that survived and continued into the future. And so our genes are meant to be able to store energy. So we are good storers of energy. So we can continue to store energy as fat in our fat cells infinitely until, of course, it would kill us. Which is why you have shows like My 600-Pound Life and things like that, because you can infinitely store energy. And energy is important because you obviously need energy to live. And the reason that your body stores this energy and tries to protect that storage is because it is vital for survival. You can't even breathe if you don't have energy. In fact, if you didn't have fat cells to store energy, you would not even be able to sleep for 8 hours. You'd have to get up every so often to eat so that you can fuel your body to pump your heart, to breathe, to make your brain function. But you can sleep comfortably for 8 to 10 to 12 hours because you actually have fat cells that can supply you the energy that you need in order to survive. And so it is the function of the fat cell is, in my opinion, one of the most vital cells in your body. And your body needs, or thinks it needs, to protect the energy that you've stored. Unfortunately, we all store too much energy. And so that's the reason why obesity is an issue today. So then what do we do about it? Well, the best thing to do about it, if your set point is at 250 or whatever it is just to go in the brain, turn the thermostat down to whatever you want to be, like 190 pounds, 175 pounds, whatever it is. So we're not there yet, but we're working on it. So now, since we can't go in your brain and turn down your thermostat, we have to work downstream. The things that your brain is doing to then make you hungry and make you crave, and then affect your metabolism, we need to be able to address that. So there are a couple of ways to do it. One is ghrelin is pretty high when you lose weight. And so you need to know how to manage ghrelin. This is a hormone game, as I mentioned many times. And so you need to try to decrease your ghrelin. And the best way to decrease it with food is with protein. So protein is very helpful at decreasing your ghrelin levels. And so you need a good 25 to 30 grams of protein to do an effective job at decreasing your ghrelin. And so what I tell people is that make sure you get a decent amount of protein at mealtime. But not only should you decrease your ghrelin, you need to keep your ghrelin down. And so that one of the strategies that we have is that we tell people to eat a protein snack about an hour or so before meals, because if you do that, you will decrease your ghrelin. You'll go to lunch or dinner. You won't even be that hungry, but you should eat, because what happens is as you get closer and closer to mealtime, ghrelin grows and it goes higher and higher and higher until when you're really, really close to mealtime, it's super high and it makes you hungry and makes you crave. So that if you eat a protein snack before meal, about an hour, 45 minutes before meals, you will drop your ghrelin levels. So when you go to dinner or lunch or whatever it is, you might not even be all that hungry, but you should eat because you don't want the ghrelin to go back up. But then you'll have better control. So so for me, when I go down to the cafeteria, instead of going to the pizza station, I'll go to the carving station and get some turkey and some green veggies and then enjoy my meal. And I won't think twice about it. So that's kind of what we do with food. So what we do is we try to manage your hormones with food. And sometimes we need to give you back the other gut hormones, the so-called satiating hormones, the ones that make you feel satisfied. There's one in particular called the GLP-1 that makes you feel less hungry and it reduces your cravings. And one way it does it is it slows your stomach down. So when you eat food, you feel full quicker. And it also shuts off the cravings in your brain. And so sometimes we actually have to give that back to you. And we have a medicine that we can do that to give that back to you. And so we use this strategy and many more. But the main thing is to try to control your hormone levels as best you can. So you need to reduce your ghrelin levels and try to get your satiating gut hormones up. And so from that aspect, that's how we strategize on that. And like I said, it's a little bit more in depth, but that's the main thing. So we would want you to eat a protein snack before you eat your main meal so that you'll keep ghrelin down. And then we need you to eat on a schedule. Doesn't mean that you have to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but you should eat on a schedule. So if you don't eat breakfast, that's fine. But make sure you eat on a schedule like you normally would eat. Because not only do you need to knock ghrelin down, you actually need to keep ghrelin down so that you can have better control. Which is one of the reasons why we tell people, don't go to the grocery store hungry. Because if you do, you're going to be picking all kinds of food that you shouldn't be having in your house in the first place. And the concept is the same. You want to keep your ghrelin down. The next thing is, what do I do about my metabolism? So you can't, unfortunately, control your metabolism because that would be another way to help burn some fat, right? If I could crank up my metabolism, I could eat whatever I want and just, I just turn it up, burn it off. But unfortunately, that's not how this works. So there are three main things that control your metabolism. One is physical activity. So whatever you're doing, whether you're going to the gym or whatever you're doing in physical activity. Two is the energy that you burn to digest your food. So that doesn't change. That's a constant. And then three is whatever your baseline metabolism is. When people say, I have a slow metabolism, what they're talking about is their baseline metabolism. The metabolism that you have when you're not eating, when you're not doing anything at all. You're just sitting or laying down. That we can't control either. So we can't control the energy we burn when we eat food for the most part. And we can't control our baseline or basal metabolism as it's called. And so what your body does is when you lose weight, it reduces your basal metabolism. And that's really all your body can control, your basal metabolism. But it turns out that your basal metabolism is like 60 to 70% of your overall metabolism. So even though that's all it controls a lot. And so, and like I said, when you lose weight, your body will turn it down to not to where it's supposed to be, but it exaggerates it and turns it down even more. And so now that your metabolism is low, you're fighting an uphill battle to try to lose this weight or to keep it off. So you'd have to eat less, and less, unless you control the other part that you do something about the other part that you can't control, which is the physical activity. Now, that is key. So when you lose weight, physical activity becomes more important. And so, and not just exercise. Like I said, there's 168 hours in the week. If you exercise 4 times a week, an hour at a time, that's only 4 hours out of that 168 hours. You still have another 164 hours where you could be burning energy. I mean, outside of the time you spend for sleeping. And that's where this concept of NEAT comes in. NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So NEAT is basically what we measure with the Fitbit. So it's how many steps you're getting. What are you doing throughout your day to be able to burn some extra calories? And yeah, you might not be breaking a sweat, but you're still burning calories. And that is key. So that, instead of, and I tell people they need to do more NEAT. So instead of parking and trying to get close to the store, fighting over that parking spot, park farther away. Get those extra steps in. Instead of taking the elevator or the escalator, walk up the steps. Instead of getting on a people mover in the airport, walk the airport. Most of us are not in the airport much now, but the point is to do more physical activity. Don't go to the closest water cooler. Take a stroll down the hall and say hi to your colleague or something. So when you burn more energy through NEAT, you actually can burn 30% more calories with NEAT than you can even with exercise. And so that's why NEAT is so important, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's why it's so important, because that is what you need to utilize to fight when your metabolism is going low. So your body's going to try to reduce your metabolism until that set point in your brain calms down. Now, some people believe that it never calms down. I happen to be of the belief that it does calm down after a couple of years. However, it can be re-triggered to go right back to where it was before if you're not careful. And so it's important that you manage both, that you manage your physical activity through exercise, of course. Exercise is important because it helps with heart health. It helps to reduce insulin resistance. Remember, I mentioned insulin last week, and it helps to burn calories. But NEAT is really important. We need to do more NEAT, particularly now in this COVID-19 pandemic. Most of us sit in front of a computer, like I'm sitting now, and we sit more now than we've ever sat before. That's why I get complaints all the time from patients. Oh, I don't know why I got this backache. I don't know why my butt hurting. I don't know why. All of these little things are happening to them because they've been sitting in this one spot for 8 to 10 hours a day typing away. And so now is the most important time to increase your NEAT. I was just telling the patient today that NEAT is, you need to get up every hour. Try to get back into your normal routine, because the way things are, then it's not going to go away anytime soon, no matter what you may hear. And so you need to figure out your new routine, your new normal, at least for now. And it needs to include moving. It needs to include not just sitting down, but getting up and taking your 15-minute break and taking a walk. Or when you're on a call, if it's not a computer call, if you're on a phone, walk around your kitchen table, the island in your kitchen. Or you need to, take a walk outside, or do something to move your body. Even when you're cooking, you need to be tapping your feet and singing, belting out your favorite song. It's important that you move your body, even if it's only a little bit. You might think it's nothing, but pennies add up. And the more that you move your body, the better off you will be. And so it's really important that you move. And so and we like to do things objectively, so that's why we tell all of our patients to get a Fitbit, or some sort of they're called a accelerometer. So get something that will measure your steps. And yeah, you might say your phone measures your steps, but if it does, then you need to make sure your phone is on you all the time. Make sure whatever you use that it's on you all the time, so you can get a sense of how many steps you're getting, how much you're moving, and then try to increase it. And because it's important that you, again, increase your NEAT, increase your physical activity to help offset the decrease in your metabolism when you lose weight. And then going back to the first point, you need to make sure you're eating, the right foods. And it turns out that a low carb and a moderate amount of protein diet actually helps to preserve your metabolism more so than any other diet. There was a study done out of Harvard about a year ago that showed this. They fed the participants different types of diets, and it showed that a low carb diet with a moderate amount of protein helped to maintain their metabolism. And so when we're dealing with patients, we're looking at all of these angles. And so for you, all I would suggest that you do is make sure that you keep your carbs low. So sugars and refined carbohydrates. Fiber is a carb, but it's a good carb. So eat plenty of fiber, but keep your sugar low and your refined carbohydrates like bread, rice, pasta, and potatoes, because those things turn into sugar when it enters your blood. And so keep those things low and keep your protein up to a moderate level. And a moderate level when you're losing weight is, depending on your size, is anywhere from 60 to 100 grams of protein a day. And it may be more depending, again, on your size. And so if you eat a low carb, you keep your carbs low and keep your protein up to a moderate level, it will help to maintain your metabolism. And to help control your cravings and your hunger, you need to do this, utilize the strategy that I just discussed in making sure you keep your protein up enough at meal times, making sure you're eating at least 20 to 30 grams of protein at mealtime, and then try to eat a protein snack about 1 hour to about 45 minutes before meals so that you keep your ghrelin down. And then the other thing is to eat on a schedule. It's really important to eat on a schedule because you want to, again, keep your ghrelin down. You don't want to go into mealtime ravenous, because then you might make poor choices. And some may say, well, do I have to eat a protein snack before my meal? No, you don't have to, especially if you don't have any issues when you do go to mealtime. If you don't have any issues with making sure you stick to a healthy protein like some fish, like salmon or chicken or whatever it is that the protein that you choose, and a nice green veggie. If you don't have any problems doing that, and you don't have any problems eating high carb snacks in between time, then you don't need to eat a protein snack at a time. That strategy is used for people who are having a difficult time sticking to what the plan is. And that's a very effective strategy to help people decrease their ghrelin levels so that when they do go into mealtime, they're fine. And so if you approach it that way, then you will do better. And if you also approach it with the mindset that this is a lifestyle, it is not something that you do for a short period of time and then you go back to eating the way you were eating before. Because clearly, if you go back to eating the way you were eating, you will go back to the weight you always were. And so it's important that you adopt these things as a lifestyle. And there's so many delicious things that you can eat by keeping your carbs to a reasonable level, that are tasty, that are great, and that you can enjoy. And it doesn't mean that you can't. Someone asked a question like, well, does it mean I can never have this or never have that? No, it doesn't mean that at all. If your carb number, we talked a little bit about what your carb number is last week. If your carb number is 70, like mine, my carb number is 70. If I know I'm going out, for dinner that night and I might eat a few extra carbs, well, I got 70 carbs for the day. So what I'm going to do is eat my breakfast, make sure my carbs are very low. So I might eat my breakfast and I only spend 5 or 10 carbs. Lunch, same thing, 5 or 10 carbs. So if I'm spending 5 or 10 carbs, the most I spent was 20. I still have 50 carbs to spend at dinner time. And so I can do that and enjoy it and not have a problem. And so you always just have to have a strategy. It doesn't mean you can't have something. It just means that you need to keep in mind what your carb number is and then take it from there. And let's say, you know what, one day you go over your carb number. You're really having a great time. You're hanging out with your friends or your family and you go over your carb number. Okay, you went over your carb number. Not the end of the world. You might gain a few pounds. That's okay. You grab the dial. You turn it down to your weight loss carb number. You get those extra pounds off and you keep it moving. And that really is what the strategy is, which is why it's important that you know what your carb number is. And we teach you that in the book. And that you understand what the strategy is on maintaining your weight loss. Knowing that a part of maintaining your weight loss is keeping your ghrelin levels down, trying to get your satiating hormones up. And we don't have a whole bunch of great ways of doing that part with food without giving you replacing them with the medicine, the ones that, because your body will stop producing them when you lose weight in order for you not to feel satisfied. And your body will overproduce the ghrelin to make you feel very, very hungry. And so we have a way to decrease that, which in most cases is enough to kind of control your hunger and craving. And then you need to address the other part, your metabolism. Your body is going to try to decrease your metabolism. And not only is it going to try, it's going to decrease your metabolism. And so you then need to figure ways to counteract that. And the way you do that is by increasing your physical activity. And the most effective strategy in doing that is to increase your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Yeah, we want you to exercise. It's really important that you go out and you get on your treadmill or you go and pump that iron or you do whatever it is you do. But if in between that, you're just sitting on the couch with the clicker, I guess it helped, but you're not really burning calories the other 164 hours of the week. And so you really do need to maximize your NEAT. And if you maximize your NEAT, and if you try to balance out your hormones with your food by eating a lower carb diet with a moderate amount of protein, you will be able to successfully manage your weight and keep your weight where you want it. And even if you have a bad day or two, as long as you don't have a bad week, month, year, even if you have a bad day or two, you can get back to it and get back on and get back to your journey. We all will have bad days. Don't be hard on yourself. Not a problem at all. We just need that mindset that you want to get to a healthier weight. You need to understand how to do it, and then you need to go after it. And even if you slip, I have the saying that's why we got a reset button. Isn't it beautiful that we can wake up every morning, hit that reset button, and start over again? It's okay if you slip, as long as you get up, hit the button, hit that snooze or that reset button, and start all over again. And so that's the main strategies that we use when we're trying to help people manage their weight. And sometimes, even after that, you may need a little bit more help. And that's where your doctor comes in. Then you need to go to an obesity medicine specialist, someone who specializes in weight management that can help you with those rough patches. Because sometimes we do have rough patches. For those of us who don't need to do that, that's great. But those resources are there. If you live in a different part of the country, you can go to the ABOM website. The ABOM.org is simple. Go there, click on your area, like find a doctor. They'll say find a physician. You'll look for obesity medicine. These are physicians who are board certified and trained in treating obesity. So you can go on that website, click on find a physician, put in your zip code or your address, and you can find physicians in your area if you need it. And so I think I'm gonna sign off now. I thank you guys for listening. We're gonna do this, every Monday at 6. You can email me your questions. Most of the things I talk about are from emails DMs that you've sent me, or things that you've put in my feed, questions that you've had. I find it, I try to answer you directly, but I also find it helpful if I can do it, for the general public as well. So that is all, folks. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you later. I'm signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.